Very good evening to everyone gathered here today, and welcome to an exciting session of the XLRI Leadership Series. Before we proceed, I request you all to please put your phones on silent mode. Honorable Chief Guests, distinguished invitees, members of the faculty, and my fellow students. On behalf of the GMP CEO Committee, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to all of you to today's session of XLRI's Leadership Series. I'm Jyoti and I'll be your host for today. The XLRI Leadership Series was initiated by the students of General Management Program at XLRI with the sole intent of creating a platform for students to interact with leaders from all walks of life. These interactive sessions with leaders and torchbearers help the students gain insights beyond the classroom and enrich their learning, thus helping them in their holistic development into competent management professionals. Before we continue, I'd like to share a brief history of XLRI. Founded in 1949, XLRI is one of the oldest management institutions in the country, guided by the Jesuit vision of Magis. XLRI has produced numerous socially responsible leaders, and we've been consistently ranked amongst the top 5 management institutes of the country. This year, the XLRI Leadership Series has hosted eminent leaders such as Lieutenant General Anjan Mukherjee, AVSM Director General Artillery, Mr. Rahul Bose, actor, social activist, and rugby player, Mr. Praveen Sinha, co-founder and managing director, Jabong.com, to name a few. So let us begin today's session of the XLRI Leadership Series with a big round of applause. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's my privilege to introduce to you Mr. Navin Gulia as our chief guest. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Gulia to XLRI. Thank you. Though he needs no introduction, I will make an attempt. Mr. Gulia is a man of grit, full of energy and enthusiasm. For a big part of his life, he has chosen to swim against time, turn difficulties into opportunities, powered by undaunted courage, conviction, and an unflagging sense of purpose. This adventure sports enthusiast is passionately dedicated to rehabilitating underprivileged children in various parts of rural India. He is the founder of a charity called Ada, Apni Duniya, Apna Ashiana. He is the author of the book In Quest of the Last Victory, published by Pearson Education. He is the recipient of the President's National Role Model Award in recognition for his contribution to society, and a world record holder in adventure driving for driving to the world's highest mountain pass at 18,632 feet. Additionally, he has received the Chief of Army Staff Commendation and numerous other awards for his strength and dedication to the causes he pursues. We also have the pleasure of company of Colonel Devendra Pandey from the local army unit here in Jamshedpur, and he has been kind in agreeing to share his experiences of working with Mr. Gulia. I now request Colonel Pandey to please join us on the dais.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and good evening to you, sir, Dr. Ray. When Tanveer and Himanshu approached me that they wanted somebody, some senior army official to come and talk to you, I promised them that yes, I will facilitate that, but I reminded them of the proposal that I had made Professor Ray last year. I had walked up one day to Professor Ray and given him the resume of Navin, I told him that, sir, will it be feasible to give him an audience? He had promised me then and there that yes, right away. And I'm really touched that he's taken time off from his busy schedule and task, and he's here with us. I'm really thankful to you, sir, and I'm thankful to you, firstly, to make it happen at this odd hour, and thankful to you all, and especially to Himanshu and others who agreed to my request of speaking for 2 minutes for Navin. In June 1991, about 400 of us teenagers, then young cadets as we used to be called then, we joined the National Defence Academy. 4 years of rigorous training, and on 10th of June 1995, about 372 of us became officers in this Indian Army. My friend Navin Kunt, on 29th of April, during the training, there is a very specialized competition, obstacle training. I don't know how many of you have been to IMA. If you have seen that, there is a obstacle training course.
Russian obstacle course.
Yeah, just next to that. And there is an obstacle called belly roll. As a layman at times we used to call it belly roll. So, doing the belly roll, Navin fell down. He broke his spine. He broke it very badly. I was speaking to the doctor. I don't know how many vertebrae he had a fracture. He was paralyzed, neck down. Sorry for remembering it, Navin. He was paralyzed, neck down. He was quadriplegic. He still supposedly is. I remember having trained with him. We were in the neighboring companies, the hostels, as you can say it in a layman. We were in the neighboring hostels. Every day I used to see him practicing. He was one of the medal prospects, very good at OT. He has always been an outdoor man, right in NDA, right in MA. I saw him falling down. We were ahead of their company. We had finished doing the course. It takes about, if you are good, it takes about 2.5 minutes to complete the obstacle training course. And by the time you finish, you are really dead. We had just finished, we were sitting, they were in next. I could see him falling. Then we saw the rush of the stretcher bearers, they took him away. Thereafter, next few months, we just heard the story. Oh, he's sick. He's being transferred from one hospital to the other, and to the other, and to the other. There was the sullen and studied silence at the back of our mind that his days are numbered. Please pardon me for saying so. God willing, he will live 100 years. But that was the time we always used to think that days are numbered. He was in DI list, dangerously ill. At times we call it death imminent. I don't know what is the correct version. He was in DI list for months and months. As he is written in his book, in June 95, when we all got commissioned, just a bit later than that, he reached back to Pune. In those days, Pune used to be the hospital where the spinal injuries used to be treated. And what he has written in his book, that he was dragged back to square one. From where he could have got a career, he was dragged back to square one, way behind his course-mates, his friends, and with a big question in his mind whether he will be able to survive or not. Leave aside catching up. Just 9 years flat on 12th of September 2004, when we all were still a young major in the Indian Army, nobody knew about us, he made the Limca Book of World Record. When I look back, ladies and gentlemen, 18 years now, out of the 372 of us who got commissioned that year on 10th of June, where Navin couldn't join us, just about 20 to 25% of us have become full colonel. The first selection grade rank. Next, barely 10 to 15% will make it. Thereafter, all of us are in God's hand. Becoming the highest rank in army, if you would have joined the army chief, we cannot be sure. If somebody from our previous batch makes it, we will all say thank you and go home. About 80% have already been told in the organization that thank you, your services are not needed anymore in the higher rank. Here you are. But when I look back at Navin, Navin had a question that whether he will be able to survive or not, leave aside catch up. Let me assure you to Navin, you too, and to all of you, tell you, not only he has survived, not only he is caught up with us, he has beaten all of us. He has got the President's National Role Model Award, that was in 2005 if I remember. The Haryana government gave him State Award for Adventure Sports. He was the Limca Book People of the Year in 2005. He was the Times of India Global Indian of the Year in 2005. The Chief of the Army Staff, General N.C. Viz, gave him a commendation card, and it's not easy to come by. I am commanding a unit which is 50 years old. In 50 years, only 2 people have got Chief of Army Staff commendation card. It's not easy to come by. They gave him the Ability Mastery Award, the Karamveer Puraskar Chakra for Excellence in 2009, the Godfrey Phillips Mind of Steel Award. They have forgotten, I think, Body of Steel. He does have it. Believe you me. A quote in which I believe, gentlemen. Our body and mind have infinite ability. Our ability never restricts us, our thoughts do. If we think we can, we can. If we think we cannot, we cannot. And he has done it himself. Today, he is going to talk to you on a subject which he knows, which he has practiced. The beauty about him is that whatever he is going to talk, he has done it himself. He is not preaching us. So I will not waste much of your time. I will request one more round of huge applause for him. To know his story, read his book. I bought it on the next day, 129 pages, with your kind of intellect, which I am very sure is much better than all the Fauji's. You will read it much faster. Couple of hours of reading. It's really inspiring. Thank you very much. Navin, up to you.
The presentation can be run at a particular time when I tell you. Okay. Right now, just put on hold. Ladies and gentlemen, very good evening to you all. And I'm very grateful to my friend Devendra Pandey, I won't say Colonel, and to all the faculty and students who have given me this wonderful opportunity to interact with you all. What is wonderful about this opportunity is that I personally believe that meeting one more person in your life is like leading one more life. gaining the experience of one more life, because you gain from an experience of a lifetime, a new way of looking at things. So I treat meeting people as a very great achievement in my life and a great experience. Now, that I am at the receiving end of your affection and appreciation has not got much to do with my greatness, but with your greatness and kindness, that you appreciate whatever little I have been able to do. Personally, inside me, I know that physically or mentally I might be having less capabilities than you, not more. So whatever I have been able to achieve in my life, or whatever little I have been able to do, it is more because of my focus. Because I have limited energy, I focus it on the right things. And that's the reason I have been able to reach somewhere. Sometimes when I am addressing youngsters, I ask them, you have dreams? And everybody raises his hand, yes, we have dreams. So I say, tell me, what did you do today in the direction of achieving your dream? And they think and they say, today we have not done anything. I say, what did you do yesterday in the direction of achieving your dream? And they again say, yesterday also we did not do anything. I say, what about day before yesterday? And they say, day before yesterday also we did not do anything in the direction of achieving our dreams. I say, how do you expect to actually achieve your dream? It's not, in life it is not the strong and the intelligent who will succeed. The most strong and the most intelligent, they will not succeed. Take my verse 20 years down the line, you can see it. They will not succeed. The people who succeed are the people who consistently work in the direction of their dreams. That is the most important part. So ability wise I am not greater than anybody, or I don't have more abilities. Might be I have much less. Now to start with maybe I'll just go through my story, and whatever little I have learned, I will share it with you. To begin with, I'll recite a share of mine, because I write in Hindi, English and Urdu. I write some things. And 18 years back I had met with this accident, and doctors had said maybe he might survive 3 days, or the chances of surviving 3 days is also less. So this share is basically dedicated to that point of time in my life, and it goes like this. ऐसे रुखसत हुए हमारे जनाजे से वो, जनाजे से रुखसत होने पर बहुत शेर है। ऐसे रुखसत हुए हमारे जनाजे से वो कि फिर मुड़ के नहीं देखा, फिर याद नहीं करते। नवीन ये इल्म नहीं उनको, हम जैसे आशिक मौत से मरा नहीं करते। It is not that we all don't have to die. It is that we don't live with a fear of dying. That is important. Fear. That fear is not there, and that is more important. So I start my story. When I was a small kid, I was short in height, and I was not very good at studies. I was not very good at sports. My writing was not very good. I was a so-called weak student. Children used to fight with each other that we don't want Navin in our team. So now the thing is, it leads to a frustration. Frustration is a very positive energy if used in the right direction. Because whenever you take decisions in your life, it will be when you will be facing certain amount of frustration and desperation. When you are comfortable, you won't take any decisions. The thing is whether you take a decision in the right direction or not, that is important. So at that point I decided that why can't I be good? Why cannot I be good? So everybody used to tell me my writing is bad, but nobody used to tell me how it can be good. What are the characteristics of a good writing? I am not physically strong, but how can I be strong? How can I be good at sports? So I had to find my own ways. And 7-8 years down the line, children used to fight with each other that if you want Navin in your team, we want 2 players in exchange. So to bring about that kind of a change, 7-8 years, to bring about that kind of a change, it's important that you enjoy working in that direction, and you have to work for that period of time, and you can only work for that period of time if you enjoy it. Otherwise, you cannot work. Sachin Tendulkar, like sometimes people tell me, maybe you do all these expeditions for fame. You cannot climb Mount Everest for fame. Otherwise everybody would have climbed. You know, Sachin Tendulkar, when he was practicing from morning till night, 2 o'clock he was practicing, 2 a.m. in the morning he was practicing. He did not know whether he will make it to the Indian team. But he was enjoying practicing. That's why he was able to reach there. So the desire of fame cannot make you reach at any place. Unless you love doing what you are doing, you cannot reach there. That's important. So, I enjoyed that period of hard work. Now when I was somewhere in 9th standard, 10th standard, I was playing a lot of sports, boxing, athletics, swimming, hockey, football, and at state level, national level I was playing. And suddenly one day, I used to run 4-5 kilometers every day. One day I started having breathing problems, asthmatic. I did not know what was wrong. I went to the doctor. And doctor said that, he made me sit next to him. He explained me for nearly good 15-20 minutes, half an hour he took. And he explained to me with a lot of sympathy. He said, son, take it that you cannot play sports anymore. A person who is having bronchitis or breathing problem, he cannot play sports. So he tried convincing me a lot. And every day I used to run 4-5 kilometers. From next year I started running 8 kilometers. So there will be a lot. The lesson from this thing is, there will be a lot of times in your life when others will try to define what you will be able to do in your life. People will say, I think you will be able to do this much. But what you will be able to do in your life, you have to define. That's the most important part. You have to define what you want to do in your life and what you will be able to do in your life. I've learned a lot of things from a lot of people, and I was listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger. He is also one of my heroes. A lot of people, And he was saying, from a small town boy in Austria, he used to say, one day I'll be the strongest person in the world. And people used to laugh. So then he said, I'll be the biggest actor in Hollywood. And people used to laugh even more. And then he said, I used to say that I'll be a very big businessman. And people used to laugh even more. And then I said that I'll be the president of the most powerful country in the world. And people died laughing. So, and down the line, he did all those things. He was 7 times Mr. Universe. He was one of the biggest actors in Hollywood, one of the biggest production houses, and governor of California. And the only thing which stood between him and the presidentship of US was one law which said that a person born in US can only be the president. And they were even considering changing the law for him, which ultimately did not happen. So he achieved what all he aimed for. So there are no limits to what you can achieve, provided you dream for it and you work in that direction. Now, when I was 18, I joined National Defence Academy. And my seniors, I was one of the first cadets to join the academy. And my seniors, just to pull my leg, they said, which corps, which arm of army would you want to join? And I said, I would want to join the para commandos. And they laughed. They said, 4 days of training and you'll change your mind. 4 years down the line, I did not change my mind. And in the end, that was the corps I opted for. I went to my adjutant, who was battalion adjutant, who was also a paras officer, and I told him, sir, I want to join the para commandos. Now, the great part is not that I wanted to join para commandos. There's nothing great about it. We all are playing our roles in the society. I don't think that role was a bigger role than any other role. What was great about the thing was that I did not give up on my dream. I did not compromise. And now what is the big thing about not compromising? Whenever we compromise with our dreams or with our principles, we unknowingly make ourselves weak. Because why do we compromise? We compromise expecting that life will be easy now onwards, because we have made a compromise. Now life should be easy. And life is never easy. If you want to become a singer, like Kailash Kher wanted to become a singer, and he had to stay on a railway platform and he didn't have food to eat also, he did not mind it. Because that was his dream. He was working for his dream. Had he changed his dream and worked in some other direction, he would not have been able to accept any difficulties. So when you make compromises, you are not able to accept difficulties in life. But if you are working for your dream, then you can, even if you go without food, you don't mind. Even if you face more difficulties, you don't mind, because that is your dream. So one should not compromise with one's dreams or with one's principles in life. And sometimes people say, why people basically make compromises. Basically, they feel maybe if we make a compromise, I might not succeed in this direction, but if I work in this direction, I might succeed. That's the basic reason. I say that, the battle that I want to fight, the dream that I want to achieve, I'm willing and I'm ready to fail in that direction. I don't want to succeed in any other direction. Like I say, I don't want to compromise and become the President of India. But if I can stand with my principles and be a soldier, I'll be glad and proud. That is the thing. So, I'm ready to fail in the direction of my dreams. Very willing. Now people tell me, you are a motivational speaker, why do you talk about failing? I say, if you know you are going to win, you are going to succeed, it is very easy to be motivated. You know you are going to succeed. आप 4 गोल से जीत रहे हो तो बहुत आसान है, बहुत मोटिवेटेड होगे भाई, जोश से खेलोगे. The point is, if you are losing by 4 goals and still you play with the same spirit, if you know that you are going to lose a battle and you still fight with the same spirit, then you are motivated. Then you are truly motivated. So, and that attitude is the victory. The victory or success is not the act of crossing a line, a finishing line, achieving a target. That is not victory. Victory is the attitude you carry in the process, the kind of attitude you carry. That is the victory. Now, I met with this accident at the end of my training. The thing is, I was very adventurous, taking part in adventure sports, choosing a career or an option which also had risks involved with it. So, I was more accepting towards such things, that injuries can happen, things can happen. One important lesson I learned in army was that if you think your enemy will attack you from 3 possible directions, there are 3 possible directions from where he can attack. He will attack you from the 4th one. Same thing is true about life. Where you are expecting your difficulties or challenges from, that is not the direction from where you will be getting your difficulties. Your difficulties will come from some other direction. And you should be willing to take it on. What you will face in your life is not in your hands. What conditions, what terms you have to face in your life, that is not in your hands. How you deal with it, that is in your hands. So, and again when I went with this accident, I see that people, when they face some losses in their life, then they immediately come out with a question, why me? Why did it happen to me? I personally find it a very stupid question. I say, why not me? If the world has to die, if people have to suffer, if people have to face difficulties, why won't I be facing? Why am I the chosen one of God? I also have to face difficulties in my life. So, and as a matter of probability, the difficulty was to come to someone. If it has come to me, it is good. It is like one of my postmates, Rajeshwar Johal. He said to me, postmates are very frank with each other. When he met me, immediately after my injury, he said, Gulia, अच्छा हुआ तेरे को ही चोट लगी. अगर हमको लगती तो हम नहीं देख पाते. You would have been able to take care of it. And I feel it a very big compliment in my life. When he said that, he had that kind of confidence. And a lot of my postmates also said, कि अच्छा गुलिया को लगी है, अरे no problem, he'll take care of it. That kind of confidence they had in me. So, now the thing is, after I met with this accident, doctors said that he might possibly have 3 days. First 3 days are very crucial. If he survives, he may survive. After that also he may survive. Now, important thing which I have learned in my life and in sports also, what other people think about you. What other people think about you is not your problem. What you think about yourself, that is the problem. Other people can think anything. What other people think about you is their problem. It is not your problem. What you think about yourself, that is important. So, sports has taught me a lot of important lessons now. I might not have been an Olympian, but you don't have to be one to learn from it. And that has taught me one thing, that आप किसी भी परिस्थिति में हो, आप सिर्फ ये देखते हो कि यहाँ से जीतना कैसे है, ये बताओ. 4 गोल से हार रहे हो, मेरे को ये परेशानी नहीं कि मैं 4 गोल से हार रहा हूं, मुझे ये बताओ यहां से जीतना कैसे है. I was talking to the Indian hockey team and like they were saying that Australian team and German team are number 1 and number 2 and they are far superior to us in fitness and quality of their game, power hockey and all. So 99% chances are that we'll lose. They are very good teams, both of them. So I said, I'm not interested. I'm not interested how good they are. What are their strong points? That is not my point of interest. You tell me how I can beat them. मुझे ये बताओ कि उनको हराना कैसे. अगर वो 1% चांस भी है उनको हराने का, वो क्या है? Give me that chance. So that is what. So sports has given me that focus कि मुझे ये बताओ करना क्या है. There was one of my mathematics instructors, and his favorite word was whenever we will tell a problem or situation, he will listen to the entire problem and situation. Then he will just say 2 words, way out. Tell me what is the way out? What is to be done? बाकी सबसे मुझे interest नहीं है. That is the thing. So sports has taught me focus. In that situation, okay, whatever might be difficult situation, आप मरने वाले हो, जीने वाले हो, I am not bothered. Tell me what I can do here. What is my focus? So you have to keep your calm. Whenever you are calm and focused, you can take the right decision only if your mind is calm. Now, like we have been talking about leaders, a soldier, people, masses, they can afford to get carried away. They can get carried away. They can get emotional. But a good leader is who can be calm because he has to keep his focus. He has to take right decisions. If you are in a state of excitement, nervousness, anger, irritation, you will not take right decision. You can only take the right decision if you are calm and focused. Then only you can take the right decision, whatever the situation be. Now, I focused on getting well. There was a situation I could not breathe, I could not speak, I could not move any part of my body except my eyes. And the thing is, like people tell me now also, maybe you are happy because you are successful now. I was happy then also. When I met with the accident, then also I was happy. When I was being lifted off after my injury, my body was not to be moved because the injury was critical and things could be damaged. So 3 paramedics were lifting me from this side and 3 from that side. My body was to be made very stable and shifted onto the stretcher. And all 6 of them put their hands under my body, but nobody put his hand under my head. My neck was broken. So I said, भैया मेरा सर भी लेके जाना है साथ में. So they also eased up and I also eased up. You have to go someday, but why not go laughing? And in fact, it is my personal dream. Whenever I have to face my end, I should face it laughing. And that will probably be my last victory. Thing is, if you don't enjoy your difficult and tough times, you cannot succeed. If you cannot enjoy the times, then you are down. When you are in your beginning phases, when you are in the toughest phases of your life, you cannot succeed. You have to enjoy that phase and be as happy at that time as well. Now, again, like I was giving a talk to soldiers of the Rajputana Rifles, and I told them, see, you may break the law of army and you may get away with it. The chances you can get away. You may break the law of the country and there are still chances you may get away with it. If you hire a good lawyer or if you are smart, you may get away with it. But if you break the law of life, you cannot get away with it. There is no court where you can argue, on that. If you break the law, whatever you are, whoever you are, you will suffer. Simple law. And the biggest law and the only law which defines this life is Darwin's theory, Darwin's law. Now people, whenever I ask them Darwin's law, they say survival of fittest. It's survival of fittest, but you misinterpret fittest. Fittest person is not the person who is strongest. Fittest is not the person who is most intelligent. Fittest is the person who can adapt. The dinosaurs did not survive because they could not adapt. Only situations, like people always, I hear a lot of people complaining, the world has changed, पहले ये होता था, अब ये होता है. World will always change. World has always changed. Till the time you can adapt, you will survive. When you don't adapt, you will not survive. Simple. You have to adapt, you have to learn. Keep learning, then only you will survive. So, from a sportsman to this situation. I had to adapt. If I don't adapt, I don't survive. And life will always give you only two options. Either prevail or perish. You can either prevail over the circumstances or you can perish. Simple. There is nothing else. No arguments. So, now I had to do something with my mind. I started calculating. First, initially I started counting the beeps of a life support device which was attached. It was making a beeping sound. I used to count that to pass my time. Then I started calculating 2-digit numbers, multiplying 3-digit numbers, 4-digit numbers, playing virtual chess in my mind. And then when I sat in my wheelchair, I was playing a lot of chess. And sometimes, I tell friends, chess is like football. And they say, what are you saying? Chess is like football? What's the similarity? I say, both games are tough. and very few people prefer to play them for that very reason. So, I play chess, and whenever I've lived in my life with one thing, that whenever you get an opportunity to do something, live something, experience something, do it, so that you don't carry any regrets with you in your life. And so whenever I get an opportunity to learn anything, I do that. Now when I reached India, till that time I had never heard music. During my time, if we used to watch Hindi movies, we used to wait for the song to come, so that when the song comes, we'll go to the loo in the meantime. So we never used to listen to music or songs. And then when I came to India, a lot of my postmates were listening to music and I liked it. And when I heard the songs, I started singing myself. And when I started singing, and people used to run away. And I used to guess why they are running away. I'm just singing. Then one fine day, just to satisfy my curiosity, I recorded my own voice into a stereo and I listened to it. And I also ran away. So, but one of my postmates, Nagendra Sharma, he only told me, he was a classical singer. He said, don't worry, keep singing. Your voice will improve automatically. And the good thing about singing is, whether other people like it or not, you will enjoy it. So now I was in the hospital, and the thing is, whenever somebody tells me that this thing cannot be done, it makes it very interesting to do. You get an eagerness to do it. And I was in the hospital, and a lot of the staff was, Malayali guys, Malayalam, the nurses, nursing assistants, the doctors. So I heard them speaking in Malayalam. I said, I want to learn. So they say Malayalam is very difficult. You can never learn it. If you never learn it, then I will try to learn it. And it is, the pronunciation is very difficult. So I started learning. And one fine day, this nurse was coming, and I was playing chess alone. And I wanted to offer her, will you play chess with me? So I had to say to her, and will you play with me? And just by chance I made a slight mistake, and instead of saying that, I said something which means, will you have bath with me? So, and whenever I tell this incident to people, they are immediately curious, what did she say? I said, what? She said, no. What did you expect? So, now in 1997 I came out of the hospital, and the doctors again said that he might be able to move his wheelchair himself, he might be able to move his wheelchair one day himself. And that day and today, I have not only moved my wheelchair, I have driven to mountain passes, jungles, deserts. I have flown microlight aircrafts, powered hang gliders, made this particular world record, achieved a master's degree in computers, UGC net lectureship in computers, and done so many things in my life. And now the thing is, basically when it comes to the same principle that what you will be able to do in your life, it is to be defined by you. And coming to this particular expedition, believing in your principles, your thoughts, what you say, what you speak, what you believe in, that is your identity. And you are nothing more than that. If you give up that, then it is like an intellectual death. If you give up your thoughts, your ideas, your principles. And I always used to say, what I discovered during my training days was that, our body and our mind has infinite ability. Our ability never restricts us, our thoughts do. If we think we can, we can. If we think we cannot, we cannot. Now, as far as English goes, it sounds very interesting, good to hear. But to prove it is a different thing. I should be having the ability to prove it. Whenever in my own life, whenever I have been stopped or prevented from achieving something, it was because of my thoughts, not because of my ability. And I wanted to do something or achieve some expedition with which I proved this particular concept. So I decided to drive from New Delhi to Masimekla. Before that I had driven to the same place in a Maruti 800, 18 years old car, and nobody even knew that I was traveling. Me and my 16-year-old student and another 16-year-old help, we were three of us. Nobody knew. If we would have died on that particular expedition, nobody would have come to know. So the point is, that's the thing. When nobody was covering us that time also, we were doing it. And it was because of that particular expedition that I was able to achieve success in this next one also. So when I attempted this, I decided to drive from India Gate to Masimekla, which is 18,632 feet, over 1,200 feet higher than the base camp of Mount Everest. And people going to Leh take 3 to 4 days of acclimatization on the way, stopping on the way, and then they prepare and then they try to climb Masimekla. They are not able to. If you Google, if you search on YouTube, you will only find one video of somebody reaching on top of Masimekla. Otherwise, you will just find videos somewhere on the way or somewhere at the bottom, not on the top. And those are people, even the people who reach, there are people who took many days to reach that, preparing. And I decided to reach from New Delhi to that place non-stop. Driving over 55 hours that it took, crossing 7 of the highest mountain passes on the way. It has been nearly 10 years now, 9 years plus, and nobody has even thought of attempting it. Nobody even thinks that it is possible. So maybe even if I attempt it again, I might not be able to do it. But it was my aim. I wanted to do something which was considered impossible. That was the basic purpose behind it. And I succeeded in doing that in 2004. Now, after that, I started a social welfare organization also. A lot of TV channels were covering my story and all. So some of my friends said, come out with a book, this is the right time. I said no. If I come out with a book, I want to write a book which anybody should feel happy to have read. At the end of reading that book, the person should say, this is the best book I've read. It was a pleasure to read it. Otherwise, I will not write a book. Because I have believed in a particular concept. In today's world of marketing, people misinterpret. They feel marketing is everything. If you market well, you can sell down. That's the concept. But the point is, I don't want to sell down. So, I have personally believed, you have to, the world may believe in something, you have to have your own personal belief, what you believe in. And I have personally believed in substance. Your work, your product, what you're doing should have substance in it, your personality. What is the substance in your personality? And I believe in all this, make-up things. Genuineness has its own importance. Otherwise, you tell me, you say politicians are corrupt, or politicians this, politicians that. When BJP comes to power, they need Vajpayee as the Prime Minister. When Congress comes to power, they need Manmohan Singh as the Prime Minister. Why didn't they make anybody else? Because they wanted an honest person. They could not do without it. Honesty, genuineness and substance has its importance. Why is Anna Hazare successful? I read Anna Hazare's story 35 years back when he had started his work. That time I had read his story. In Reader's Digest there was an article, Why God Saved Anna Hazare. And that time I had read it. So I have been following him for that long. So you need genuineness, you need honesty, you need substance to succeed. Otherwise, you can make small gains. I agree. You may be able to make out a little money also, no problem. But if you really have to succeed in your life, then you have to believe in that. That is my personal belief. That's what I have discovered. And I started. So even writing my book, it has taken 8 years to write that book, to come out with a story right. And now when I was over with my story and I was satisfied with it, and PSN Education things worked out, PSN Education decided to publish it and all that. I believe in one principle, always make your targets very high. I don't believe in nail-biting thrillers. If you are aiming for a nail-biting thriller, it is interesting to watch on TV. But if you are aiming for a nail-biting thriller, there are 50% chances that you are going to lose. Probability. So I believe in winning by a large margin, a vast margin. I want to leave everything behind. It should be, you should be in a league of your own. That's the thing. So whenever you target something, you have to target so high that even if you perform a little less, you still succeed well. You still do well. It is a very accepted concept. I was giving a talk at Marico's and they said, we also have a concept, if you have an outstanding target, we have an average target, acceptable target. The thing is, when you already know there is an acceptable target, you are actually aiming for the acceptable only. You are not aiming for outstanding. So you have to see how you have to reach outstanding. So when I write my book, I said, and I'm not interested in selling my book. I'm not interested in monetary benefit from it. I'm interested that it is able to achieve the success. First thing was substance. Now second thing is I want it to reach 10 lakh people. Now when I met my publishers, they said, how many copies do you think you will sell? So I did not want them to get a heart attack or something. So I just said a modest 25,000. So they say it's impossible. A first time author writing a book, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 copies maximum will be able to sell. They did not know that my aim was not 25,000. My aim was 10 lakhs. I could not tell it to them, but my aim was 10 lakhs. Now when I was initially going for 10,000 copies, my mother said to me, 10,000 copies, you think they will sell? Why are you taking such a risk? I said, I'm not bothered about 10,000, I'm bothered about 10 lakhs. If I have to fail at 10,000, I better fail. I will not mind it. I have to aim for 10 lakhs. So that is the way you have to target in your life. I was talking to the Indian hockey team and I was telling them the same thing about targets. And I had a personal interaction with Sandeep Singh, the person who has scored maximum goals in Indian hockey. So in that particular tournament, he aimed for 12 goals in one tournament, which is very high target, 12 goals. So he kept a high target for himself. And in that particular tournament, he ended up scoring 16. Again the same thing, your thoughts are only restricting you. If you aim for 16, you can aim 16, you can get 16, So that is important. And these lessons are common, whether you are playing sports, whether you are a student of management, whether you are, whatever you are doing, The same laws apply everywhere. Now, maybe, one more point I'll bring out. The thing is, difficulties, challenges, obstacles, people opposing you, there's something I find everybody complaining about. And I'll say, you don't succeed despite the difficulties, and you don't succeed despite the people who oppose you. You succeed because of that. It is because of the difficulty. A person who is supporting you is not the reason for your success. A person who is opposing you is the reason for your success. My parents, they did the greatest favor to me. On that day, when I did not have 10 rupees in my pocket, and they refused to lend me money. That is, I see it as their foresight. They refused to lend me money that day. Had they lent me money that day, I would have become dependent on them. So it is because of the people who oppose you, they give you that opportunity to, succeed. I have believed in difficulties. Sometimes people express, they are amazed that, so and so person, he succeeded against so many difficulties. I say, I'll be amazed if he succeeded without facing difficulties. You succeed only after facing difficulties. And इसी चीज में मेरा एक शेर भी है जो मैंने लिखा है, वो कुछ ऐसे है, ऐ खुदा दे कुछ और तकलीफ मुझे, ऐ खुदा दे कुछ और तकलीफ मुझे, नई कोई चुनौती तो दे कि जिंदगी को और जीने को जी चाहता है। कुछ तो आंधियों को उठा, कुछ तूफान तो हो कि आसमानों को फिर छूने को जी चाहता है। सो दैट इज द रोल and life is very relative. Happiness has its importance because sadness is there. Good times are important because bad times are there. If you work for 8 hours in the sun, a glass of water is like, amrit. And if you are living with luxury, even the greatest of wines cannot entertain you. So, life is relative. Facing difficulty, facing this thing, you really are able to get maximum out of life. Maybe most of the things I have shared with you, I might have missed upon on some, and that we can come across in the interactive session. A couple of things I might get reminded of as I am going through the presentation. They are just some random pictures so that you can connect with my story better. Some of the pictures are there to impress you all. Just like men, men can never resist the temptation of impressing. No, you can just go to the next. I'll just keep saying next to you. Next. Some random pictures from my training days. Interesting, as you say. Next. This was actually, we can go back to this. This picture was actually towards the end of the cross country run in IMA. It just ends 100 meters down the line. And my cadet sergeant major, who's in charge of the company, he was surprised. He was saying, you are reaching the end, how come you had the time to click for a photograph, post for a photograph. Next. This is my photograph after my injury. Not my photograph exactly, but a person who has met with the same accident, because I didn't have any photograph of that time. Next. Most of my photographs pre my injury, I never used to click photographs. They were sent to me by some of my postmates who had clicked them. I enjoyed my life before my injury, I enjoyed my life after that. After that, maybe more. Next. This is one of the mountain streams close to Manali. This is the mountain stream in Dehradun, just behind IMA. And that picture also was from my after my injury only. Next. This is one of the photographs in Thar Desert. This is a powered hang glider that I flew. This is a photograph in there. This is my student behind me, Ankush. And he also, he was 16 years old. When he went with this particular expedition, this Maruti 800 that we had gone and nobody knew about us, that time he was just 14 years old. He just completed his 10th standard. And he went with me. And in preparation of this expedition, he had, gone to the workshop and worked with the mechanics so that he knew everything about the vehicle, how it is to be repaired. And this particular expedition was successful because of his knowledge about the vehicle. And his general knowledge was so good that particular funny incident I sometimes quote, that when we were climbing Rohtang Pass, the pass ahead of Manali, a lot you people might already be knowing about it. So we were about to reach the top and we saw some buses parked by the roadside, some vanity vans. And he immediately said, "Sir, यहाँ पे कहीं shooting हो रही है." मैंने बोला, "How do you know?" तो सर ये संधू ट्रैवल्स की बसेज हैं और जो बॉलीवुड वाले हैं वो संधू ट्रैवल्स की बसेज हायर करते हैं। मैंने बोला यार, he might be saying, we reached the top and actually there was a set there and all the director and camera and things were up. So we asked one of the security guards standing there कि कौन सा हीरो हीरोइन आया है? तो उसने बोला प्रीति जिंटा and सनी देओल. So some movie I think, love story or spy or something, I don't know. Hero. So when he said Sunny Deol and Preeti Zinta, so my student said, हमको said, सर सनी देओल यहाँ नहीं हो सकता. मैंने बोला ऐसे क्यों? तो सर सनी देओल हमेशा ब्लैक मर्सिडीज में ट्रैवल करता है और उसको खुद ड्राइव करता है और यहाँ पे ब्लैक मर्सिडीज नहीं है. मैंने बोला मे बी ऐसे कह रहा है, जस्ट फॉर द सेक ऑफ इट. सो वी क्लाइम्ड रोहतांग एंड वी वर गेटिंग डाउन इनटू लाहौल स्पीति वैली एंड एक दो टर्न्स के बाद आगे से एक ब्लैक मर्सिडीज आ रही थी और उसको सनी देओल चला रहा था. So acknowledgement of it. This was one of the mountain streams we had driven through. अब जैसे ही हम ये पर्टिकुलर माउंटेन पास को क्रॉस कर रहे थे तो यहाँ पे ये माउंटेन स्ट्रीम दिखाई दी सामने, एकदम से पानी बह रहा था, बहुत गहरा और बहुत तेज. तो अंकुश ने बोला सर गाड़ी साइड में लगाओ, फंस जाएगी. अब मैंने 2 किलोमीटर पहले एक ट्रक को ओवरटेक किया था, मुझे पता वो ट्रक पीछे आ रहा है. मैंने बोला नहीं, बीच में घुसे दो, अगर फंसेगी तो ट्रक वालों को निकालने पड़ेंगे. अदरवाइज अगर हम साइड में निकालेंगे वो लेफ्ट चले जाएंगे आगे. सो एक्चुअली में वो अंदर घुसी तो वो फंस गई गाड़ी एंड पीछे से ट्रक वाले आए तो निकालनी पड़ी. नाउ आई न्यू दैट कि ये पानी कितना ठंडा होता है, बर्फ में से पानी आ रहा होता है, ये ठंडा नहीं होता. इट डज नॉट फील कोल्ड इन योर लेग्स, इट पेन्स. इतना ठंडा होता है. दे डिड नॉट नो हाउ कोल्ड द वाटर इज. जब गाड़ी बीच में फंसी, इधर से गाड़ी में पानी घुस रहा था, इधर से निकल रहा था, तो ये दोनों एकदम से नीचे उतरे धक्का मारने के लिए. इनको पता नहीं था कितना ठंडा होएगा. तो जैसे ही पानी में उतरे तो ये दौड़ते हुए बाहर भाग गए. एंड आई वाज स्टक देयर इन द मिडल. तो बाद में वो ट्रक वाले आए तो उनने उतर के धक्का मार के निकाली गई. एंड आई अगेन photographs on that. This is very near to the top of Khajuraho. This is at the beginning of my expedition, March. Next. इसमें मैं एक चीज बताना चाहूंगा क्योंकि लोग बोलते हैं ना टाटा मोटर्स ने आपको स्पॉन्सर किया, लाइक माय बुक इज आल्सो रिव्यूड बाय रतन टाटा एंड ऑल दैट. सो पीपल टेल मी कि हाउ डू यू गेट स्पॉन्सर, नो हाउ डू यू डू दिस थिंग. आई से वन थिंग, दूसरे को आप में कितना विश्वास होगा ये इस बात पे डिपेंड करता है कि आपको खुद में क्या विश्वास है, कितना विश्वास है. जब मेरा इंटरेक्शन उनसे हुआ तो उनको ये पता था भाई और कोई करे नहीं करे पर नवीन जरूर करेगा. दैट काइंड ऑफ कॉन्फिडेंस. मेरे साथ ऐसा हुआ है रिमोट एरियाज ऑफ द कंट्री में ट्रैवल करते हुए कि मुझे रोड के ऊपर, मैं दिन रात गाड़ी चलाई है यहाँ से मद्रास तक, लेह लद्दाख तक. मुझे रोड पे डाकू भी मिले हैं, मुझे रोड पे तलवार पकड़े हुए आदमी मीटर भागते हुए अभी आए हैं, मार देंगे काट देंगे काइंड ऑफ थिंग. लेकिन मेरा कॉन्फिडेंस इतना होता है कि वो रुक जाते हैं. एंड दैट इज द थिंग. सो हारना है, मुझे भी पता है कि मुझे भी हारना है एक दिन, मुझे भी हारना है, मुझे भी मरना है, ये बात नहीं कि नहीं. लेकिन न मुझे उस दिन की प्रतीक्षा है न परवाह. दैट इज द थिंग, यू नो. सो मैं हारूंगा इसके डर से मैं नहीं जीता हूं. दिस इज द लेक पंगोंग. सो आई थिंक यू शुड गूगल इट. पहले लोग इस लेक को नहीं जानते थे, अभी ज्यादा लोग जानते हैं. ये 3 इडियट्स में लास्ट सीन जब शूट हुआ था इसके ऊपर, उसके बाद से ज्यादा लोग जानते हैं. लेकिन इसको आप देखोगे तभी आप एक्सपीरियंस कर सकते हो. इस फोटोग्राफ में इतना एक्सपीरियंस नहीं कर सकते. इसके कलर्स पूरे दिन में चेंज होते हैं और ये बोलते हैं कि जिसने इस लेक को देख लिया उसका जीवन सफल हो गया. नेक्स्ट. दिस इज ऑन दैट एक्सपीडिशन. नेक्स्ट. दिस इज व्हेन आई रीच द टॉप. That was me along with Ankush. Again you see 16 years of age, he is in the record books. तो वो सिर्फ उसकी करेज थी खुद की कि भाई he also entered that and he did not, you know. जब मेरे साथ ये हुआ कि मैं मारुति 800 में गया था तो ये मेरे साथ थे. हमने साथ में मौत भी देखी है, ऐसी कंडीशन भी देखी है कि बिकॉज कोई नहीं जानता था, कोई सपोर्ट नहीं था, कोई मेडिकल सपोर्ट नहीं होता था उस टाइम पे. तो ऐसी कंडीशन भी देखी कि हमारी गाड़ी फंसी हुई थी और कोई वे आउट नहीं था. और अंकुश ने मेरे पास आके बड़ा सहमति होकर कहा था, सर मुझे नहीं लगता हम में से कोई भी जिंदा बच के जाएगा. आज हम उस चीज पे हंसते हैं. और बीच में एक माउंटेन पास पे हम फंसे हुए थे और रात में इतनी सर्द हवा चल रही थी. तो मैं इतना ड्रिंक नहीं करता हूँ, तो मैंने तो खाली 1 या 2 पैक ब्रांडी के लिए थे वार्म करने के लिए. और मैं पूरी रात मेरे दांत के पिटाते रहे थे. अंकुश ने आधी बॉटल पी ली थी और वो बिना रजाई के सोया था. These are a couple of the records which I record. मुझे कई बार क्योंकि लोग पूछते हैं जैसे अवार्ड वगैरह मिलते हैं, लोग बोलते हैं ये कैसे मिला। मैं बोला मुझे कैसे मिला मुझे नहीं पता, मैंने कभी किसी को फोन करके नहीं कहा मुझे अवार्ड दो। जब मेरा काम देखो आके आप काम करते, अगर आपका फोकस काम पे तो वो अननोटिस नहीं रह सकता। पॉइंट इज आपका फोकस काम पे होना चाहिए। एक अपना गीता का जो श्लोक है मुख्य कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते, मैं एक दिन बैठे बैठे मैंने सोचा कि यार इसका जो मतलब बताते हैं ये तो इसका मतलब नहीं है। जितनी संस्कृत मैंने पढ़ी थी 9th क्लास तक 10th क्लास तक, कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मां फलेषु कदाचन, कर्म करो फल की इच्छा ना करो। अगर इसकी संस्कृत बनाएंगे तो बनेगी कर्म करो फलस्य चिंता मां करो, ये तो नहीं बनेगी। तो इसका मतलब क्या है? कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते का मतलब है कर्मणि एव अधिकारः ते, काम ही अधिकार है तुम्हारा। योर राइट इज ओनली योर वर्क, whether you will reach there or not, whether you will be successful or not, that is not your part, that is not your role, that is not what you have to do. आपका हक सिर्फ काम है, what you can do, that is the thing. तो मैंने हमेशा काम पे ही फोकस किया। अगेन मैं ये बोलता हूँ कि मेरा पर्सनल बिलीफ है, आई डोंट से कि भाई हर एक कोई इसी चीज में बिलीव करे, मैं तो अपना पर्सनल बिलीफ शेयर कर रहा हूँ आपसे। नेक्स्ट, this is the organization which has started in 2004-5, अपनी दुनिया अपना आशियाना। नेक्स्ट, दिस इज वन ऑफ द सेंटर्स इन द विलेज। आपको कभी भी लाइक आई से डोंट लुक एट रीजंस फॉर नॉट डूइंग अ थिंग, लुक एट रीजंस फॉर डूइंग इट। साधन रिसोर्सेज हैं या नहीं, सपोर्ट है या नहीं, आप इन क्वेश्चंस में अटक के रह जाते हो। रिसोर्सेज है ना कुछ नहीं, यू स्टार्ट द वर्क, बाकी चीज वर्कआउट होगी अलोंग द वे। यू कैन नॉट फाइंड ऑल द आंसर्स बिफोर स्टार्टिंग, यू विल फाइंड द आंसर्स ऑन द वे। I have taken classes on the road also, by the roadside. Next. This is the cover of my book, and next. This is President receiving a copy of the book. One of my childhood heroes, Rekha Singh. This photograph I put specifically to make people jealous. A couple of random pictures from some TV programs. Next. Well, you know, अंग्रेज सारे एक जैसे ही दिखते हैं, तो आई डिड नॉट रिकॉग्नाइज देम दैट टाइम। बाद में किसी ने बताया कि जॉन्टी रोड और राम स्ट्रोसनर है। This is the Indian hockey team, the captain of the Indian hockey team, Sandeep Singh. Next. Somebody told me, would you want to walk the ramp? I said, why not? Let me try it out once. This is my cover of my Hindi book, which has just come out 2 days back. I have got the copies. It will be launched soon. That is this January itself on the Lake Pangong. So it was my dream to go there once in winters. Now the thing is, Leh is blocked by roads during winters. You can go only by air to Leh. And between Leh and this particular lake, there is again a mountain pass, the third highest mountain pass, which is snow covered. So you know there were a lot of ifs and buts attached to it. But you know it was my dream, and I was able to make it through this January. And the partly frozen lake, half ice and half lake. Next. This is the frozen Indus River and Zanskar River. Maybe you can just see that video, small video of my expedition. Can you play it? We can play 003. Is it there? 003, I think.
The best destination such, it was to show that we have to leave as early as possible to avoid the traffic and to get a head start on the lanes. A tough drive by any standards. But what made it extra special was the man behind the wheel, ex-army man Navin Gulia, who was discharged from the army 9 years ago. After an absolute race mishap, injured his spine and left him completely paralyzed. The chariot in this case is a completely modified Tata Safari. All controls, including the clutch, accelerator and brakes, are controlled by the hands. In fact, you would never be able to guess what a home is. Fresh spurt of energy and the wheel will go to counter. The fueling was only necessary for the car as Navin was not charged up when we started. We reached Manali around 5 p.m. and the daunting Rotan Pass was up next. कितना टाइम के सकता है इतना टाइम नहीं पाता मैं वो सब कभी नहीं पाता मुझे भी दोस्त नहीं मैं तो कभी किसी को जिसको करना चाहता हूँ उसको मैं डेफिनेटली कर रहा हूँ तो मैं पहले से बहुत उंगली लगने के बाद भी मेरे माइंड में कोई डाउट नहीं था कि मैं मेरे से बाहर नहीं आ सकता और जब मैंने पहले रिकॉर्ड किया पहले तो मेरे लिए एक दूसरे में वर्ष के दूसरे चलाने क्या नहीं था तो वहाँ से शुरू किया था मैंने यही सोचा कि गाड़ी चलाने यहाँ तक पहुँचना होगा With bad weather to hinder our way, zero visibility made us proceed at a snail's pace. This was extremely tiring for me. Extremely now I'm at home for our non-stop driving, Navin was taking his first poster. We had to swing back up about in 15 minutes. And with this new energy, our professional man does not think fast. Next morning brought a new light of hope, as Gulia was the mission last week was there to be accomplished. It was grueling drive up ahead, but Navin was up for it. Driving his car time safe, in less than 5 hours, he was on schedule. However, what lay ahead was the toughest terrain yet, but their track through the Himalayas to reach a height of 18,634 feet. So Navin came after 3 hours of this dirt track driving, but it was worth every single minute spent getting there. The person who drives it would know that it was a smooth body. Women have to do it in a good and this is the minute of my writing. So, come to that. My life is never very good. I want to make this statement. If in your life you have not found something, even that for your life is not for you. After driving around 58 miles of rocky trail and getting down the road over 5 minutes, this pass is 18,644 feet high, 334 feet higher than the point of this base camp, and that's about what intensity Navin Gulia has gone through. We wish all the best for future endeavors. We want to take our second and last one.
There is 003 also, I think it will be. This is on the Pamongso Lake, this January. So it was nice on water and the temperature was minus 40. Minus 40 and we knew that outside the vehicle we could spend at the maximum 15 to 20 minutes. So whatever recording or photographs we had to do within 15-20 minutes.
मुश्किल जिसको झुकाए, हार जिससे हार गई, सोचे बहुत उपाय, वीर उसको चाहिए जो हर संकट हर जाए। विवेक को अपनी शक्ति बना, संयम को कर सबल, विनस्पति में रह अपने असूलों पर तू अडिग अटल। जो तक पता गया अपनी कर्म भूमि पर, वो इंसान ही क्या कहलाएगा। जो चलता रहा तूफानों में, अपनी मंजिल को अंत में वो ही तो पाएगा। संकट जिसकी शक्ति करे, आधीन जिसको हिलाए, हार जिससे हार गई, सोचे बहुत उपाय, वीर उसको जानिए जो हर संकट हर जाए। जज्बा जोश जुनून जतन ये जो तेरी पहचान है, जज्बा जोश जुनून जतन ये जो तेरी पहचान है। वो इंसान क्या जिसे अपने होने पर नहीं अभिमान है। 4 दिन आगे 4 दिन पीछे, हर कोई मिट्टी में मिल जाएगा। 4 दिन में जो कर गया कुछ, वही तो महान कहलाएगा। न करे विचलित, मुश्किल न जिसको झुकाए, हार जिससे हार गई, सोचे बहुत उपाय, वीर उसको चाहिए जो हर संकट हर जाए।
In the background and the ice floating, and since the temperature was that low, I hurried up my plane. It's not that much in June, but it's okay. So maybe to end it all, I'll just on a lighter note. When we used to be youngsters, that time, you know, if we had to propose to a girl, we had to write a letter. These days you can just SMS. So एंड उस जमाने में जमाना बहुत सालिम था। अगर आपका लेटर पकड़ा जाता था तो आप रस्टिकेट हो जाते थे। तो आप लेटर लिख के जेब में रखते थे, 2-2, 3-3 साल तक दे नहीं पाते थे। तो उसी जमाने को एक शेर मैंने लिखा है जिसको यूज किया काफी यंगस्टर्स ने प्रपोज करने के लिए, और जब मैं किसी ऑडियंस में सुनाता हूँ तो लोग नीचे नीचे मोबाइल में सेव कर लेते हैं। वो शेर कुछ ऐसे है, अगर हमारे दिल की धड़कनों को महसूस कर सको, अगर हमारे दिल की धड़कनों को महसूस कर सको तो कुछ बात है साकी, वरना जिसे कह के जाहिर करना पड़े वो जज्बात ही क्या है। इस शेर की खासियत यह है कि आपने कह भी दिया और आप सेफ भी हो। अब काफी सारे स्पेशली द जेंटलमैन विल आइडेंटिफाई दिस पर्टिकुलर शेयर ऑफ माइन। काफी से लाइट नोट पे ये शेर भी वो कुछ ऐसे है, इतना मुकम्मल तो बना लिया खुद को हमने, इतना मुकम्मल तो बना लिया खुद को हमने, अब क्या मरने के बाद करोगे मोहब्बत हमसे? शेर शायरी चलती रही बहुत समय, मे बी अभी most of the things I've shared कुछ मिस भी हो गई होंगी, बाकी हम we can interact and we can see, so you can come up with your questions that you may have and I'll try to answer as best I can. Please, you can speak out the question.
Yeah. Good evening, sir. This is Navin from XLRI. Thanks a lot for your inspirational and motivational story.
Thank you.
My question is, what is the next big dream or the high target that Mr. Navin will achieve?
See, there is not much big dream. Basically, I am living my life and basically I am enjoying it. And ये मैंने फुटबॉल में देखा था कि फुटबॉल खेलने का मजा तब आता है जब आप 2 गोल कर चुके होते हो। तो मैंने अपनी जिंदगी में वो 2 गोल कर लिए हैं, अब मैं एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ। मैंने जिंदगी को मौत से छीना है और उसके बाद मैं जो भी कर रहा हूँ वो बोनस है, तो इसलिए हर एक चीज को मैं एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ आगे। और मैं I want to travel all across India, see all the places in India. There is so much to see. I want to experience. This June I will be driving across Australia from Perth to Sydney, all across Australia. तो बेसिकली लाइफ का एक्सपीरियंस कर रहा हूँ, वो एक पार्ट है, वो मेरा अपना पर्सनल गेम है जिसमें मैं सीखना चाह रहा हूँ। फिर दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि मैं सोसाइटी के लिए कुछ करना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि अपने लिए करना एक चीज़ है, गिविंग में एक अलग जॉय है जो आप कुछ कर सको, उसमें आपकी लाइफ को पर्पस प्रोवाइड होता है। तो कुछ मैं सोसाइटी के लिए करना चाह रहा हूँ। और दूसरी चीज़ जैसे मैं कहता हूँ कि आप 98 या 99% टाइम, अभी जैसे आजकल फेसबुक का ज़माना है, तो लोग क्या करते हैं, इधर से उधर से कोई पोस्ट कॉपी पेस्ट करी फटाफट कोशिश करते हैं ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग लाइक करें, लोगों को मैसेज भी करते हैं यार लाइक कर जाए। तो मैं कहता हूँ वो बात देखो, वो प्रेजेंटिंग वाले पार्ट पे बाद में जाओ, पहले लर्निंग वाले पार्ट पे आओ। 98 से 99% कम से कम, नहीं तो अदरवाइज ऐसे 99.99% टाइम यू शुड स्पेंड इन ट्राइंग टू थिंक एंड लर्न। Only 0.001% time you should spend in speaking and writing. Then only you will be able to come out with something substantial. ये जरूरी है, सीखना जरूरी है। तो मैं अपनी लाइफ में सीखने पे बहुत इम्पोर्टेंस देता हूँ, मैं सीखने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। कई बार मैं सोचता हूँ कि भगवान शायद भगवान को बेस्ट एम्प्लॉयज चाहिए होते हैं, इसलिए वो क्या करता है कि आपको खूब सिखाता है, सीखने का मौका देता है। जब आप सब कुछ सीख लेते हो तो बुला देता है। तो आई डोंट माइंड दैट, बट मैं जितना कुछ अपना जिंदगी में सीख सकता हूँ, समझ सकता हूँ। मैं कहता था कई बार कोई लोग ऐसे पूछते हैं जिंदगी का पर्पस क्या है। जिंदगी मैं इमेजिनरी चीजें नहीं कहता कि कहीं पे कोई स्वर्ग है या जन्नत है या कोई नहीं, किसने देखी है, जो है यहीं पे है। तो मैं जो चीज़ है मैं वो बताता हूँ जो दिखती है आपके सामने। तो मैं ये कहता हूँ कि लाइफ एक, पहले मैं कहता था लाइफ 100 रुपए के नोट की तरह है, लेकिन आजकल 100 रुपए में ज़्यादा कुछ आता नहीं। तो मैं अभी कहता हूँ कि लाइफ एक 500 रुपए के नोट की तरह है, और उसको अगर आप अपनी जेब में रखोगे संभाल के तो वो एक कागज का टुकड़ा है। अगर उसको खर्च कर दोगे तो कुछ खरीद सकते हो। तो जिंदगी जितनी है उतनी ही है, ज़्यादा नहीं मिलने वाली, पर उसको खर्च करोगे तो कुछ उसमें से गेन कर लोगे, सीख लोगे, एक्सपीरियंस कर लोगे। जाना तो उसमें वैसे नहीं है, संभाल के रखोगे तब भी जाएगी। तो लाइफ का बेसिक पर्पस है कि आप उसके साथ कर क्या सकते हो। तो मैं मेरी कोशिश यही है कि जितना भी मैं जो कर सकूं वो मैं करना चाहता हूँ अपनी जिंदगी में। दैट्स अबाउट इट।
How did you get a driving license? Second is, when you were hospitalized something in 1995, so how did you see your life? Usually we are told that one of the leadership trait is being visionary, to see your life after 5 years, 10 years or 15 years. So in 1995, how did you see your life in 2005 or 2010 or 2015?
देखो दो चीज, पहले ड्राइविंग लाइसेंस का पूछा, तो अगेन एक चीज है, विद माई डिसेबिलिटी इन दिस होल वर्ल्ड आई एम द ओनली पर्सन ड्राइविंग, विद माई डिसेबिलिटी ड्राइविंग अ मैनुअल ट्रांसमिशन कार। तो उसमें ये चीज है, मैं तुम्हें बताता हूं कि कानूनन, जो मैं कानून स्टडी किया है, कानूनन मुझे अधिकार नहीं है ड्राइव करने, लेकिन जो लाइसेंस देते हैं और जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव अथॉरिटीज हैं उनको खुद कानून नहीं पता होता, और अगर उनको नहीं पता है तो आई विल यूज इट टू माय तो उनके जो लॉ है उसके हिसाब से मुझे सिर्फ ऑटोमेटिक गाड़ियां चलानी चाहिए, ना कि मैनुअल के। तो खैर उनको ये चीज नहीं पता है तो ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम। कानून मैं कह रहा हूँ, कानून इंसान के लिए बनता है, इंसान कानून के लिए नहीं बनता। कई बार हम ब्लाइंडली एक लॉ को फॉलो करते हैं, ब्लाइंडली लॉ थोड़ी है, ब्लाइंड लॉ में कुछ लॉजिक भी तो होना चाहिए ना। जैसे अभी ये जो दिल्ली केस हुआ उसमें बोल रहे कि वो उसका स्कूल सर्टिफिकेट कह रहा है कि वो एडल्ट नहीं, लॉजिकली इनसेम चीज है, लॉजिक भी तो अप्लाई करना। तो कानून हमारे लिए नहीं बनता, कानून हमारे लिए बनता है, हम कानून के लिए नहीं बने। योर लॉजिक शुड अप्लाई टू इट, कानून की वजह से आप ब्लाइंड नहीं होना चाहिए किसी टाइम पे आपको। तो दूसरी चीज ये कि मैं ड्राइव करता हूँ तो मैं 100% सेफ ड्राइविंग करता हूँ। आई बिलीव इन 100% सेफ ड्राइविंग। मेरी वजह से किसी को चोट नहीं लगनी चाहिए, मेरे को लग जाए बात और है, किसी और को नहीं लगनी चाहिए। तो आई बिलीव इन 100% सेफ ड्राइविंग, एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई टेल पीपल ऑल्सो। अनसेफ ड्राइविंग इज अ फूल्स जॉब, यू नो। कोई अनसेफ ड्राइविंग करके स्टंट मार के इधर से कट मार के परमिट चेकअप तो मिलेगा नहीं। तो उसको सेव करो। अगर मरना ही है तो यार बॉर्डर पे जाके मरो, तो काम के लिए मरो ना। तो दैट्स ऑलवेज सेकंड तुमने पूछा कि हाउ डिड आई लुक, दैट्स अ वेरी इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन। दोनों चीज होती है, आपके माइंड में एक ब्रॉड विजन होता है कि 5 years डाउन द लाइन, 10 years डाउन द लाइन आप कहाँ देखना चाहते हो, उसमें 2-4 साल प्लस माइनस हो जाते हैं वहां पहुंचने में। लेकिन आप अभी पे भी देखते हो कि अभी क्या बने। जैसे किसी भी, जिस बंदे ने सेंचुरी मारी हो या डबल सेंचुरी मारी हो या रन ने कोई रिकॉर्ड बनाया, उसको बेसिकली आप उनसे जब ये क्वेश्चन पूछा जाता है कि ये रिकॉर्ड आपके माइंड में था, नहीं मेरे माइंड में सिर्फ अगली बॉल थी, मैं सिर्फ अगली बॉल के बारे में सोचा। विजन ब्रॉड लाइन में पता है कि वहां भी पहुंच सकता हूँ, बट उसको आप इमीडिएट उसको इफेक्ट करने के लिए नहीं, मुझे एक दिन प्रेसिडेंट भी बनना है तो मैं अभी प्रेसिडेंट की तरह बिहेव करूंगा, नहीं चलेगा ना, मुझे अभी देखना कि अभी क्या काम करना है। तो वो ब्रॉड विजन भी जरूरी है, जो राइट नाउ वाली चीज है वो भी जरूरी है, बहुत सारे इंपॉर्टेंट। तो मैंने भी अपनी लाइफ में ऐसे ही देखा है, और इंजरी के इमीडिएटली बाद मेरे पहले तो कुछ महीने तक ये समझ में आया कि मैं क्या क्या नहीं कर पाऊंगा। मुझे लगा मैं कुछ भी नहीं कर पाऊंगा, मेरे को तो सपोर्ट नहीं होगा, मैं फिजिकल फील्ड में तो कुछ नहीं कर सकता, एडवेंचर स्पोर्ट्स में शायद कुछ नहीं कर सकता, क्योंकि मैं अपने आप को नहीं देख पाया। फिर कुछ महीने के बाद ग्रेजुअली मैंने ये डिस्कवर करना स्टार्ट किया कि मैं क्या क्या कर सकता हूँ, और फिर ग्रेजुअली मैंने ये रियलाइज किया कि मैं सब कुछ कर सकता हूँ, और ये भी रियलाइज किया कि शायद पहले से ज़्यादा कर सकता हूँ। तो दैट वाज द थिंग, आई हैड अ लॉन्ग ड्रीम इन माय माइंड ऑल्सो। जैसे मैंने मास्टर्स डिग्री के बाद एक्सटेंडेड जॉब नहीं लिया, अपना ड्रीम अलग रखी, तो इसलिए एक लॉन्ग टर्म विजन भी था, एक शॉर्ट टर्म विजन भी था। शॉर्ट टर्म विजन को मैं एंजॉय कर रहा हूँ।
आपके साथ मेरा नाम योगेश है। सर आपने अपनी चैरिटी के बारे में डिस्कस नहीं करा, एक बार आप
नहीं, वो अपनी दुनिया अपना आशियाना नाम से है। अगेन उसमें मेरा विजन है, मेरा कॉन्सेप्ट है, एक पर्टिकुलर जिस चीज़ में मैं विश्वास करता हूँ। एक ये था कि मैं किसी भी बच्चे की हेल्प कर सकूँ जिसको ज़रूरत हो। मैं डेफिनेशंस नहीं रखूँगी, मैं सिर्फ फिजिकली हैंडीकैप के साथ काम करता हूँ, सिर्फ मेंटली हैंडीकैप के साथ काम करता हूँ, सिर्फ ऑर्फन्स के साथ काम करता हूँ, नहीं। अगर एक बच्चा ज़रूरतमंद है तो मैं उसकी मदद कर सकूँ, ये एक था। और दूसरा विजन ये था कि उसमें एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्सपेंसेस नहीं होंगे, क्योंकि वो एक सोशल वर्क फील्ड है, उसमें एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एक्सपेंसेस नहीं होने चाहिए। जितने भी रिसोर्सेज हैं वो सारे चिल्ड्रन के ऊपर ही स्पेंड होने चाहिए। तो उस वजह से बहुत कम रिसोर्सेज में बहुत सारे बच्चों को हेल्प कर सकते। और ये नहीं कि एक बच्चे को बहुत महंगे स्कूल में डाल दिया, 100 बच्चों को एक एवरेज स्कूल में डाला, वो ज़्यादा जरूरी है। तो ये बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट है जिनके ऊपर वो किया था। और मेरा पर्सनल बिलीफ भी यही है कि जो आने वाली दुनिया है उसको स्टूडेंट्स, यंगर जनरेशन, किड्स, ये हैं जो उसको चेंज कर सकते हैं। जो एडल्ट हो चुके हैं उनके विजन सेट फॉर्म है, उनको आप सोसाइटी जैसे अभी है उसको तो अभी चेंज नहीं कर सकते, आने वाली सोसाइटी को चेंज किया जाता है, उसको बेटर बनाया जाता है। तो कल से आज की सोसाइटी बेटर है, आज से कल की सोसाइटी बेटर होनी चाहिए, ये एम है। तो वो ड्रीम हमारी बच्चों के साथ ही, उससे हम कुछ चीज़ अचीव कर सकते हैं। तो दैट वाज माय एम। और उसमें ये मेरी ग्रेटनेस नहीं कि मैं बच्चों की हेल्प कर रहा हूँ, लेकिन ये मेरा फॉर्चून है कि मैं कर पा रहा हूँ, क्योंकि ये एक बड़ी चीज़ है कि अगर आप कोशिश कर सकते हो उसमें जितना जॉय आपको एक बच्चे जो 2 बच्चे थे उनके पेरेंट्स ने उनको अबैंडन कर दिया था और वो 5 साल 7 साल ऐसे उनकी एज थी और वो एक घर में अकेले थे, उनके पास खाने के लिए कुछ नहीं था और वो कैसे सर्वाइव किया जब तक कि पड़ोसियों को पता चला कि ये अकेले हैं, और तब उन्होंने कैसे सर्वाइव किया और किस हालत में थे। वो आटे को पानी में मिला के खाते थे क्योंकि उनके पास फूड नहीं था, उनको खाना बनाना आता नहीं था। तो जब उनको डिस्कवर किया और फिर उनको रिहैबिलिटेट किया और जब उनको स्कूल की बुक्स दोबारा से मिली तो उनके चेहरे पे जो खुशी थी वो उससे बड़ा प्राइज नहीं हो सकता आपकी, कि आपकी वजह से किसी को इतनी खुशी मिल सकी। एक बच्चा था जो मेरे पास आया जब वो स्कूल जाना शुरू नहीं किया था उसने फर्स्ट टाइम उससे पहले, और वो दैट चाइल्ड वाज बोर्न ओनली विद 1 आर्म एंड 1 लेग, एक आर्म और एक लेग बाय बर्थ नहीं था उसके। लेकिन जब मैं उससे मिला तो बहुत खुश बच्चा था, हैप्पी चाहिए, लोगों को पता था कि ये अच्छा करेगा। मैंने आज तक उसको कभी मोटिवेशनल लेक्चर नहीं किया, ना कभी उसको मोटिवेशन की चीज़ बताई है, ना उसको बोला कि तुम ये करो वो करो। वो अभी 8th स्टैंडर्ड में है और वो 1st से 8th स्टैंडर्ड तक फर्स्ट आया है, 98% से ऊपर स्कोर है। तो और इसमें मेरा कंट्रीब्यूशन क्या है? कुछ भी नहीं, मैंने सिर्फ उसकी फीस दी है, जो खर्चा दिया वो दिया है, दैट इज नथिंग। बाकी उसने खुद अचीव किया। तो इतना थोड़ा सा करके आप कुछ अचीव कर पाते हो, दैट इज देयर कैन नॉट बी एनी मोर जॉय देन बीइंग एबल टू डू दैट। तो दिस इज माई ड्रीम। मैं कितना कर पाऊंगा ये मुझे नहीं पता, पर जितना कर पा रहा हूँ उसके साथ मैं खुश हूँ और आगे जितना बेटर कर पाऊंगा उतना मैं कोशिश करूँगा, दैट इज द। बाकी उसकी वेबसाइट है aadhaar.in, ADAA.in, aadhaar.in, so you can visit the activities and what is going on, how you can join the work and all that, you can see that.
मेरा नाम संदीप है। पूछना था, आपने कभी ओलंपिक खेलों में पार्टिसिपेट करने का नहीं सोचा?
एज अ स्टूडेंट स्पोर्ट्समैन, किसी भी स्पोर्ट्समैन के लिए ओलंपिक खेल सबसे बड़ी चीज होती है, ठीक है। वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड बनाना भी बड़ी चीज नहीं होती, ओलंपिक गोल्ड मेडल लेना ज्यादा बड़ी चीज होती है। तो मैं यूजुअली जब यंगस्टर से बात कर रहा होता हूँ, कभी मेरी भी ड्रीम थी जब मैं था 9-10 में। अब हर एक कोई तो ओलंपियन नहीं बनेगा, तो बात सीधी है ना, और जरूरी भी नहीं है बनना। नाउ द थिंग इज कि लेकिन जब मैं कहीं पे टॉक वगैरह दे रहा हूँ, मैं लोगों को बोलता हूँ देखो हमें स्पेशली यंगस्टर्स में ये रॉन्ग बिलीफ बहुत जल्दी आ जाता है कुछ गलत एग्जाम्पल्स देख के, कि हम कंट्रोवर्सी में घुस के कुछ जल्दी से सक्सेस पा सकते हैं। मैं कहीं पे टॉक दे रहा था और एक से ज़्यादा जगह पे ये हुआ है कि वो मेरे को उदाहरण देते हैं राखी सावंत का, उसको अचानक सक्सेस मिल गई। मैंने बोला अगर तुम्हें ये लगता है कि उसको अचानक सक्सेस मिली है और आसानी से मिली है, तो यू आर स्टूपिड। उसने सालों अपना डांस एक्टिंग जो आर्ट है वो सीखा है, इज वेरी गुड एट डांस। दूसरी चीज उसको ये पता है कि सोसाइटी को, मीडिया को क्या अच्छा लगता है, क्या देखना है, कि वो उसका नेचुरल थिंग है। जैसे मेरे को इस चीज पे अचंभा होता था कि लोग नहीं देखते कि जो बिहार के चीफ मिनिस्टर थे लालू प्रसाद यादव, उनके अंग्रेजी को देख के लोग मजाक बनाते थे। तो मैं बोलता था आप लोग सुबह लोग, वो इसलिए ऐसी अंग्रेजी नहीं बोल रहे या ऐसी भाषा नहीं बोल रहे क्योंकि वो अमेरिकन एक्सेंट में इंग्लिश नहीं बोल सकते, वो इसलिए बोल रहे हैं क्योंकि ऐसे बोल के वो लोगों से कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं। इट इज इंटेलिजेंस, यू नो। सो अगर आप ये सोचते हो कि वो अचानक कामयाब हो गए तो ये आपकी गलती है, यू आर मिस इंटरप्रेटिंग इट। मैं ये नहीं कह रहा कि उनका तरीका सही है, मैं उनके तरीके के साथ एग्री करूं या नहीं करूं, लेकिन इस बात के साथ 100% श्योर हूं कि वो क्विक सक्सेस नहीं है, इमीडिएट सक्सेस नहीं है, आसान सक्सेस नहीं है। तो किसी भी फील्ड में सक्सेस होने के लिए, कि मैं ये टॉक दे रहा हूँ, मैं कहता हूँ किसी भी फील्ड में सक्सेस होने के लिए कम से कम आप 8 साल मेहनत करने के लिए रेडी हो उस फील्ड में, तो 8 years डाउन द लाइन आप कहीं पहुंच सकते हो। तो मुझसे ये पूछ लिया गया एक दोस्त ने कि आप 8 ये फिगर कहाँ से आ गए, मतलब ऐसा राउंड आपने कौन सी कैलकुलेशन से निकाला है? तो मैं बोलता हूँ कि देखो मैं स्पोर्ट्स में एम कर रहा था। अब स्पोर्ट्स में ये होता है कि अगर आप अगले ओलंपिक्स में जाना चाहते हो तो नहीं जा सकते, 4 साल के बाद ओलंपिक्स में नहीं जा सकते आप। उससे अगले में जाना चाहते हो तो जा सकते हो। अगर आप 8 साल मेहनत कर सकते हो तो उससे अगले ओलंपिक्स में आप पहुंच सकते हो। तो उससे मैं उस फिगर पे पहुंचा हूँ, एक अप्रोक्सीमेट फिगर है। और खुद भी मैंने मतलब ये तुम पता ही हो 8 साल का मेरे उसमें एक फिगर बन गई है। द पॉइंट इज कि आपको उतना लॉन्ग टर्म वर्क करना होता है। ओलंपिक्स में जाना जरूरी नहीं है, जरूरी है कि उसमें से जो लेसन अब जैसे स्पोर्ट्स में मैंने, आप ओलंपिक्स में जाओ और लेसन नहीं सीखो तो क्या फायदा है। तो मैंने जो स्पोर्ट्स में से सीखना था, स्पोर्ट्स ने मुझे बहुत कुछ सिखाया है। दैट इज द इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट। मुझे कई बार लोग बोलते हैं कि भाई आर्मी, लोग पछताते हैं। मैंने लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल्स को भी रिटायर होकर कंप्लेन करते हुए देखा आर्मी के बारे में, और मैं तो कमिश्नरों से पहले आउट हो गया था, लेकिन मेरे मुंह से आज तक किसी ने आर्मी की बुराई नहीं सुनी होगी, क्योंकि मैं बिलीव करता हूँ कि जिस चीज़ का आपने नमक खाया उसकी बुराई नहीं करनी चाहिए। पहली चीज़, शॉर्टकमिंग्स कहीं भी हो सकती है। तो और आर्मी से मुझे बाकी कुछ मिले या न मिले, हालांकि आर्मी ने मेरे को एक्स ऑफिसर स्टेटस दे दिया, पेंशन, बेनिफिट, सारा कुछ दिया है, लेकिन सबसे जरूरी चीज़, वो मुझे नहीं भी देते तो मुझे नहीं चाहिए थी। सबसे जरूरी चीज़ थी कि मैंने वहाँ से सीखा क्या, दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट। वो सीखा है तो मैं अपना कुछ कर ही लूँगा। हम आजकल मटेरियल उस पर ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस देते हैं ना, इंपॉर्टेंस है कि आपने सीखा। अगर आपने अच्छा सीखा तो आप कुछ ना कुछ तो कर ही लोगे, दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट। ठीक है।
Thank you for the wonderful talk. My name is Sakib. I had one question. What is the thought which comes to your mind the first thing when you wake up in the morning?
I get
Every day when you wake up, what is the first thought that comes to your mind? I ask this question because, you know, whenever anything is going wrong in our life, even when there are some small miseries in our life, then, you know, the first thought which comes to our mind, हमारे दिमाग में जो पहला ख्याल आता है वो ये आता है कि अरे मेरे लाइफ में ऐसा चल रहा है, अब ये मैं क्या करूँगा। और आपने लाइफ में इतने बड़े बड़े चैलेंजेस देखे हैं, तो जब आप सुबह उठते हैं, जब आप पहली जो आपके मन में विचार आता है वो क्या आता है लाइफ के बारे में?
तो ऐसे कोई स्पेसिफिक विचार नहीं है। मैं 98% अपना टाइम जो है, और माइंड भी, मैं 98% अपने माइंड को खाली रखता हूँ। हम अपने माइंड को बहुत फ्लैटर कर लेते हैं, फलाना मेरे बारे में ये सोच रहा है, वो ये कह रहा है, ये हो रहा है, इफ दिस, बट दिस, व्हाट इफ, व्हाट देन, इतने सारे क्वेश्चन हमारे माइंड के अंदर होते हैं, हम भर देते हैं। तो सोचने का स्कोप नहीं रहता, कुछ क्लैरिटी नहीं रहती। और मेरा पर्सनली तो ये मानना है कि मेरे में दिमाग थोड़ा कम है, बहुत एडवांटेज होती है। ज़्यादा दिमाग में बहुत प्रॉब्लम होती है, तो आप सोचते ही रह जाते हैं, उसमें इतने सारे वर्ड्स लग जाते हैं, आपको सिंपल सोल्यूशन अच्छा ही नहीं लगता। तो दैट इज वन थिंग। लाइफ का बेसिक पर्पस है बीइंग हैप्पी, एंजॉयफुल। चंगेज खान ने इस दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा एम्पायर बनाया, डॉक्यूमेंटेड हिस्ट्री। उसने मंगोलिया से निकल के सबसे बड़ी साइंटिफिक सिविलाइजेशन, चाइनीज सिविलाइजेशन को हरा दिया, पर्शिया, यूरोप तक जीत दिया, सबसे बड़ा। And he was a dictator. There was nobody who had more luxury than him, but he was afraid of death. So whenever he used to come to know कि कहीं पे अमर होने की दवाई मिलती है, वो एक रेजिमेंट भेज देता था, लेके आओ। अब कहीं से मिली नहीं। अल्टीमेटली वो इतना डेस्परेट हो गया कि अपने सिलेक्टेड सोल्जर्स के साथ खुद निकला और एक दिन घोड़े से गिरके मार गया। आज किसी को ये नहीं पता उसकी कबर कहाँ है। 3-4 आर्कियोलॉजिस्ट टीम जिन्होंने साइट्स आइडेंटिफाई किए जहाँ पे पॉसिबली उसकी ग्रेव हो सकती है, लेकिन पता नहीं। तो पॉइंट इज, अगर आप हैप्पी हो तो आपको चंगेज खान बनने की जरूरत नहीं। अगर आप चंगेज खान हो और हैप्पी नहीं हो तो फायदा नहीं। मैं इनफैक्ट इसके साथ कंक्लूड करता हूँ, ये स्टोरी बता के आपको कि ये तो खैर हियर से भी हो सकती है, रियल भी हो सकती है। जब अलेक्जेंडर इंडिया आया तो वो इंडिया आके हार गया था, लेकिन इतिहास लिखने वाले उसके लिए उसने लिखवा दिया मेरा माइंड चेंज हो गया था एंड ऑल दैट। तो उसमें जो है, जब वो इंडिया में आया था तो इंडिया में कभी से इंटेलेक्चुअलिज्म का वो रहा है। ब्रिटिशर्स के टाइम में भी ब्रिटिशर्स बहुत वो होते थे, अमेज होते थे, इतने इंटेलेक्चुअल लोग हैं यहाँ पे। तो वो जब आया तो उसमें वो मारते काटते थे, जीतते थे, उनका यही काम था। तो उसने सुना हुआ था इंटेलेक्चुअल लोगों के बारे में, मतलब मुझे एक इंटेलेक्चुअल आदमी से मिलना है। तो उसने सिपाहियों से बोला पता करो। पता चला कि एक बाबा जी हैं, रास्ते किनारे बैठे रहते हैं। तो बोला लेके आओ उसको। तो उसने सिपाहियों को भेजा लाने के लिए, तो बाबा ने गालियां वालियां देके भगा दिया। अब अलेक्जेंडर एकदम सुन रह गया, क्योंकि उसने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि उसको कोई मना कर सकता है, क्योंकि वो तो अपने दुश्मनों को उबलते हुए पानी में डाल देते थे, वो तो इतना टॉर्चर करते थे, उनके लिए अनइमेजिनेबल था कि उसके हुक्म को ही मना कर सकता है। तो उसको पहले वो उससे शौक हुआ, तो फिर वो खुद गया उस बाबा के पास। तो बाबा जो है रास्ते किनारे बैठ के धूप सेक रहे थे सर्दी में, तो सामने जाके खड़ा हो गया। बोला तुम्हें पता है मैं कौन हूँ? तो बाबा बोलते मुझे नहीं करो। बोलता कि मैं दुनिया का बादशाह हूँ, अगर तुम मेरे पास आए होते ना, मैं तुम्हें सोने जवाहरात से लाभ देता, ये दे देता, वो दे देता। तो बाबा बोलते थोड़ा साइड में हटो, धूप आने दो। उसके लिए अगर ये चीज नहीं गई कि इसको ना पैसे का लालच है, ना मतलब किसी ओहदे का लालच है, तो थोड़ा वो सब पता है। फिर वो संभल के फिर बोलता पता है मेरा हुक्म चलता है इस पूरी दुनिया में, लोग थर-थर कांपते हैं मेरे नाम से, मेरे एक इशारे पे इधर उधर भागते हैं। तो बाबा बोलते फिर ऐसा करो, मैं यहाँ तपस्या कर रहा होता हूँ तो ये मक्खी और मच्छर बहुत परेशान करते हैं, इनको बोलो परेशान न करें। तो बोलता इनसे तो मेरी गलती नहीं है, दुनिया में तुम राजा बने हो। तो फिर उसका थोड़ा शौक आया, फिर बाबा ने बोला तुम बताओ तुम्हें क्या चाहिए। तो बोलता मैं दुनिया को जीतने निकला हूँ। तो दुनिया को जीतोगे तो क्या करोगे? मतलब दुनिया में सबसे बड़ा एम्पायर बनाऊंगा। तो बोला फिर क्या करोगे? बोला फिर मैं लग्जरी में रहूंगा, खुश हो जाऊंगा। बोलता यार तुम पूरी दुनिया को मार के खुश हो गए, मैं यहाँ बैठ के खुश हूँ। क्या पर्पस है? That is the thing, the main purpose is if you are happy then it's good enough, you don't need anything else. So we can conclude with that I think.
Thank you.
I would like to give a copy of my book to sir. And we'll give a couple of copies. Here are a couple of copies I will give for the library. Yeah, sure.
तो नवीन सर आपने बहुत कुछ बताया, हमें अच्छी अच्छी बातें थी। तो एक बात हम आपको बताते चले, आपने यहाँ पे आज बहुत सारे नए फैंस बनाए अपने लिए। हाँ देखते हैं, दिखाते हैं। While we're waiting for the books to arrive, may I please request our respected Dean Professor Sandesh Ray to facilitate this necessary.